buoyed up by the tunes of the homeland. The Zambians are up in the air, and the Kenyans. There we have it. Ibrahim Ayo and Hilary Odiambo make up a debutant lock pairing. Center referee Ronald Butimba seems satisfied with proceedings, raises his hand, and that means nothing else other than game live. Bowling well claimed in the air by Hilary Odiambo, and now the Kenyans have set up a mole. Will this be able to be steered forward? Ball has peeled back already. They seem well set, and now they are in motion. Here comes Kenya, a great display of brawn, and are they over? You bet damn right they are. And that is the first try of the game. It goes the way of the Kenyans, who just seem to wait. It looked like the captain, John Nyambwa, that came up with the ball there.
Yeah, possibly. It's hard to know with all those bodies piled on top of each other. But Kenya will look to use that driving more, because Zambia was totally unprepared for that. They had the physicality from the Zambian forwards, really tested the Ugandans. And we thought that possibly Zambia would try and bring that physical game. But the Kenyan forwards are have proved to be quite a match for the Zambians. They're big, strong, and a lot more experienced. So Zambia will have to change their game plan if they're to get any points on board. It's a dry day, but the pitch is a bit muddy and slippery. So possibly not quite a great day for fast stepping forwards.
Yeah, and John Kubu makes no mistake, getting the full complement of points for the Kenyans here. And it actually looks like it was a debut day try for Hilary Odiambo of Cabra Sugar Club back home in Kenya. Well, you can get the smiles coming in early for rewarding the coach's faith. Terry Kaushiku now to get us back into action. John Nyambwa now takes a big charge and a great hit that is condensed by Daniel Kunda. Glorious magnitude. Line out for the Kenyans now. Doing very well in the air, Hilary Odiambo. The Zambians have tactically collapsed this one, and referee Utimba's hand is already stretched out for a Kenya advantage. Nyambua, the captain, takes the carry now. And the ball is now in the custody of John Kubu, who attempts a very dubious kick to the corner. It is gathered very well by the Kenyans, Joel Nzuga. And you can say try time, all the way from Kenya. Joel Nzuga manages to maintain his composure, and what remarkable anticipation to lay onto John Kubu's kick over for try time to extend the Kenyans' lead.
What a debut for Joel Nzuga. He is one of the 5 debutants who have started this game. There is Hilary Mwanjilwa, Ibrahim Ayo, Hilary Odiambo, Jinson Misoga, Alfred Orege, Paul Mutsami, and Joel Nzuga, who are seated pretty on the bench waiting for their opportunity to represent Kenya. A little tidbit fact for those who may not be aware, but John Kubu is actually Fijian, but he has chosen to play for Kenya, and he's been playing for Kenya for a while. He was part of that team that played Zambia in 2021, and in that game he was playing as the fly half. Today he's playing at 15. He has had 2 touchline conversions, 1 crossfield kick. His lucky boots are definitely on.
Yeah, falling apart in the early hours of the game. Kaushiku now. Ibrahim Ayo, another debutant, is airlifted to collect that ball.
And scrum, and we saw the same thing happening to them against Uganda, and they actually gave away a penalty try. So they are going to have to sort out their scrummaging very early in this game, because if Kenya feel that Zambia easy pickings in the scrum. Every time they get into the 22 and they have a penalty, they will most likely be going for the scrum to be able to perhaps get a penalty try. Ephraim Odwor, 20 capped player for Uganda, for Kenya, having some words with his hooker before that line out happened.
You would understand because our names are very similar, but very good handwork by the Kenyans now. Joel Nzuga involved yet again, and they're moving. Here comes Ibrahim Ayo. Ibrahim Ayo manages to pass that ball in contact. Very intelligent offload. Now Brian Wahinya tries to dummy past George Nyambua, and they are coming. Elkeans Musonye sets up. Here they come again. Will it be try time? Yes, it is. Another debutant. I'm telling you, it is debutant's day out, and it is Paul Mutsami, the third try of the day for the Kenyans, scored by a third debutant on the list, and the coach must be beaming in glee over there because it is working. It is working just good.
Yes, hands by Kenya. They kept that ball alive. There were barely any rucks, but once the Kenyan player hit the ground, the scrum off was there very fast. Barry Young getting that ball out very fast to the next receiver, and it gave Zambia no time at all to reset their defense line. And it ended up with a very, very good try to debutant Paul Mutsami. Kenya slowly pulling away in this game, and it's going to be hard for Zambia to come back. And you sense that if they are to get back into this game, they're going to have to score points within the next 10 minutes.
Kubu Jones just kisses the upright over there. Be crossing the whitewash later today. Terry Kaushiku to get us back underway. That is a penalty as clear as day on Hilary Mwanjilwa. He's a bit too aggressive. There's an ignition in him that is. And the Zambians are starting to work again. They're a very physical side, and you know that the Kenyans love themselves a very saucy physical affair. And now here's Butemwe Koloko, manages to weave past his tackler to set up David Koloko, his namesake. And the Zambians have enjoyed some bit of possession in the last few minutes. Captain Baker Nazir catches a hot potato, throws it forward, and we are back for an advantage for the Zambians. You wonder what this one was for. Yes, it was for Chakla not releasing, and now it should be Alex Mwewa to look for the touch, or maybe to go for the goal. Well, he says he'll go for the goal, and there will be a change in delegation of duty from Terry Kaushiku finding the black spot in the uprights. The shoulders of Alex Mwewa will now have the opportunity to feel the weight of that task. And he lines up one very well on one knee, tests the wind with a few leaflets of grass, says probably a prayer or two, and now gives himself the distance to execute the penalty.
Zambia have switched kickers from the unsuccessful Terry Kaushiku to David Koloko, and they'll be hoping to have better luck.
That's a sweet kick by Alex Mwewa.
Actually, Alex Mwewa.
Very, very deliciously done. It is Zambia's first points of the day. And you feel that their fans have been silenced for way too long, but now you can see their flags are coming out in the stands as they sip on some nice special, while Brian Wahinya will be trying to rally his Kenyan team to remind them that let's get going. We shouldn't be shaken by that outcome.
Yeah, so Kenya now have to be wary of giving away any penalties around the halfway line, because Alex Mwewa has his kicking boots on, and he's going to punish any mistake that Kenya makes.
Mulenga Mwewa coming quickly. Terry Kaushiku is waiting for it on the outside. Terry Kaushiku into Hilary Mfacho. And the Kenyans are deemed to have been offside. Hilary Mfacho there lost the coordination between his eyes, his brain, and his hands. And one part of that body was not working in unit with all the other three needed for him to collect that pass, but it was a good pass. He was running on, and the Kenyan tackle on him, offside as it was, really stopped him from being very dangerous with that run because he seemed fully charged. Zambia with another attempt at goal.
Yeah, I mean, the Zambia attack is coming together, and they're putting together some great phases of play. Something to be noted is that before this year's Victoria Cup, Zambia's last international match was in 2021, and they had no international games at all in 2022. So Saturday's game against Uganda was the first international game that they had had since 2021. So the team is rather rusty. But the second game, you can see there's more cohesion than they had against Uganda in the first game. And Terry Kaushiko has been given back the kicking duties. And this time he is successful to nail the 3 points for Zambia. And
to keep collecting. John Kubu, that's a very wonderful kick for kickoff. But Rogers Mwankenja is up to the task. Does very well. Peter Firi is the next man to exchange with the Kenyan defense. Very aggressive play.
Zimbabwe hasn't taken part this year. They were unable to due to financial constraints, but they will definitely field a side in the Victoria Cup next year. This year, none of the women's teams are playing, but Uganda and Kenya women will take part in the Elgon Cup, but only in the second leg, as Kenya have just returned to Kenya from Dubai, where they took part in the WX3. So they'll be resting, and we'll miss the first leg of the Elgon Cup.
We shall start the second half on a note of correction. The try scorer for Kenya was not, the first try scorer was not, as we said, Hilary Odiambo, but rather it was the experienced Ephraim Oduo from Cabra Sugar on his 20th cup for the Simbas. Now a line out, early days for the Kenyans. Up and down, they're already back in motion. There is some crisscrossing play there, obstruction, and referee Utimba calls for a penalty for the Zambians. You believe this decision should be obvious. There is a way they are earning points that's working for them, and you wouldn't want them to deviate from that. And the cone is delivered speedily there, and Terry Kaushiku will have another chance to bring Zambia within 10 points of the game.
Yeah, the second half started on a false note for Kenya. They were unable to field the kickoff, and the ball bounced into touch. It was still their ball as no one got a hand to it, but then they messed up the lineup, the line out by obstruction, and a penalty was given to Zambia, and they have an opportunity to put some points on board in the second half. This time it sails through for Terry Kaushika. He seems to have found his kicking boots, and Zambia have closed the gap, and they now have 9 points from 3 penalty kicks.
You guys switched off this mic after.
Kenya ball, brought it nicely and collected by Teddy Akala now at the back of the mall. The mall is moving. The referee thinks it's fair. Kenya ball, posing very serious questions of the Zambian defense at the moment. The ball is lost somewhere deep in that mall, and it keeps moving forward and forward. Finally, it comes to its feet, and Barry Young brings it out. Looks like it went to John Nyambwa there. Nah, rather, it was the support of Ogeri. Further play. Nyambwa now on the ball. Tries to chauffeur it forward. Manages to throw it just back. And Elkeans Musonye, very aggressive in his run, the flanker. Barry Young brings it now out. That's a huge fend by the Kenyans. They just patched outside the 5 of the Zambians, trying to make their way in. And way in they have made. They are edging ever closer to the try line. A couple of more phases, you feel, could yield very good results. But it looks like Barry Young is going to play this back to Brian Wahinya. Long ball out to Elkeans Musonye. He looked like he had gone, but he stopped just short. And Barry Young now has to think of something outside the box. Ibrahim Ayo meets a very robust Zambian defense. Here they come again, Ephraim Odro. The try scorer, the first try scorer in the first half, trying to be the first try scorer in the second. But the tackle is good now, and referee Utimba will have something to say. It looks like a tackle was complete and he was calling on the Zambians to release. So it should be that he might be awarding the Kenyans a penalty. We await his decision. He seems to be going through consultation with his touchline judges. And we will be finding out what Utimba's call is. Helen, how was the second half? How has it started?
Yeah, it started brightly for Zambia, but Kenya have rallied and they've found their way too close to the try line through just building patient phases, using their forwards. Nothing fancy, just keeping the ball in hand and grinding forward slowly. I believe Wutimba stopped play because there was a Zambian player who had been down for quite a while, receiving medical attention, and the Kenyans were playing quite close. So he has consulted with his ARs, but he most likely will restart the game with a scrum down to Kenya on the 5.
Because rugby, as you've seen, is a game that transcends all borders. That's why John Kubu, born in Fiji, Fijian descent, is representing Kenya. This is a game that brings us all together as one human race. And we shall now resume with another attempt by the Kenyan. Kenya now with a scrum. Misoga peels off very unpredictably. Brian Wahinya has an overlap on the other side. And it is John Kubu who registers try time. And the old guard of the Kenyan side now getting on the action. It has been a debutant day so far. But John Kubu, the man with the conversions, the man with that meticulous assist of the boot, finally is on end of one of those Kenyans moving scrum downs, picking it off Jenkins Misoga, and he goes to ground it and extend the Kenyan lead to 24 points with a conversion pending.
Yeah, very simple scrum down from Kenya. They didn't opt to go for the shove. They got that ball very fast out through a number 8 pick, and then you had a number of backline players lined up on the right side of the pitch, causing a huge overlap that Zambia could not defend. If Johnny Kubu hadn't been able to score that try, he still had another 2 backline players on his right who would have been able to dot down very easily. Very simple try for Kenya, and they've increased their lead by quite a bit. And you sense that the game is beginning to run away from Zambia at this point, and they really have to dig deep if they are to be able to get back into this game.
John Kubu this time. Oh no. He just falls just short. From where I am, it looked like he had done that with a lot of ease. Looked like it was going right below, but he missed. And it will remain 24-9. And the Zambians now have to pull their socks up because, once again, it is a 15-point game. Kenya Commercial Bank teammates there, Thomas Okidia and Will White Mususi, have just joined the fray alongside Brian Dirangu, the man from Menangayo. Now here is Bathlock Sikaona, one of the better ball carriers in this Zambian setup. Sets up for Mulenga Mwiwa, who does well to bring in Rogers Mukupa, another tasky bulky man on the ball. Now Peka Firi does his bidding. Goes to Terry Kaushiku, releases it just fast into the hands of David Koloko. Sells a dummy David Koloko and runs back on the inside. There are calls for a high tackle, but referee Utimba is unmoved, and Rogers Mukupa now brings a daunting heat onto the Kenyan defense. There is a man that's off his feet there in that Kenyan contest. Lawrence Leka, beautiful pass through his legs, searching for Peka Firi. He had improvised the prop right there, just got the ball and swung it through the back of his legs, sent it outside. But referee Utimba has a big decision to make right now. It will be very interesting to see which one it will be, because certainly the ball didn't look like it had moved forward. And the way the Kenyans are huddling over there to speak, it looks like it might be Zambian ball. You never know, really. Referee Utimba will be making us know.
Yeah, it's definitely the Zambians' ball, because the referee had his hand up for a penalty advantage, and I believe he was warning the Kenyans probably about their persistent offsides at the breakdown, and in this case it was a high tackle. So this is something Kenya have to be careful about, because the referee has his eye on them. And if they're to repeat that, he'll probably be reaching into his pocket for a yellow card. And one of the Kenya players will be spending some time in the naughty chair. But right now, we have Terry Kaushiku looking to add 3 points for Zambia through his boots.
In another very interesting substitution by the Kenyans to bring in Andrew Matoka, played in the Batez tournament under 20 in 2019, played the 2019 Under-20s World Cup and also the 2021 Batez tournament. Not very experienced at senior team level, but definitely a name to reckon with in the juniors. Terry Kaushiku now to give the Zambians an entry into the double points. He does. That's 12 points off the boot for the Zambians. They still have another 12 points to search for if they'll just to draw the game. Kenya to start play with Andrew Matoka. Matoka finds the touch, and the game will go by way of line out. Kenya Airways incoming in the line out. Finally, Dan Angwech, the final substitute, makes his way on for Barry Young. Being a very good scrum half, Barry Young today. He has kept the Kenyans right on their toes, picking that ball out and feeding it in, letting his players run and walk all the time. And it is now up to Dan Angwech on his debut to do the same as his predecessor. Brownie maul by the Kenyans. Teddy Akala, try time wa Kenya. Conversion to come. Wonderful rugby displayed by the men in red. Finally, their rolling maul has been working but hadn't paid the results they wanted. And finally, it has come. Akala, conversion time. That's a very high one, but not a very direct one to get back into this game.
Yeah, Terry Kaushiku to restart the game for Zambia. Lies is trade for Red Arrows Rugby Club, then that they will be quite a decent outfit to challenge the East African sides.
Mukupa Rogers fends off the challenge by LK and Musonye. Big handoff there. Baptism of fire, you call it. Now Alex Mwewa. Alex Mwewa finds the pass. Terry Kaushiku. Beautiful dummy by Kaushiku. He's a small man, but he does have the skill of a giant. Here they come again now. Mulenga Mwila. Mulenga Mwewa to Bathlock Sikaona. There's another Zambian in need of medical attention. They've not played so many games as you mentioned, Helen, but they've had 2 games in a space of 4 days, and their bodies are feeling it. Cheeky kick by David Koloko. Now Andrew Matoka. Andrew Matoka seems like he is in. A chip in behind. Now it's a foot race. Andrew Matoka, the hooter has gone, and Matoka is just short. The hooter is gone for full time. And it will be interesting what decision Mutimba will make here, because that was surely the last element of play. Andrew Matoka just almost got his shine at the curtain call of the game. But Mutimba allows play to be continued, probably for a minute or two, as in this Zambian squad, as we prepare to resume the game with a scrum down. Remember, we are past the time for the game. The 80 has really come to an end, and now the Kenyans are just playing to add a little gloss onto the scoreline because they can, but they do not have to. Scrum down, and it will be the feed of Dan Angwech. And the Kenyans already at penalty advantage. Paul Matsumi is out there waiting. Paul Mutsami with the curry. Now who is next? It is Mususi. Mususi makes his meters. The Zambians defending desperately. This is to save face, but the Kenyans are playing to pilfer pain. Here they come again, another big curry, and this time it's monstrous enough to award them a try that will end the game. What spectacular fashion to finish matters here. It is the captain, George Nyambua, who gets the final try of the game, and the handshakes are in, the high fives are in. The Kenyans have done the job. It is 34 at the moment as they await a conversion to come to put Momizari Zambia's way and send them home from the Victoria Cup 2023.
Yeah, dogged defending from Zambia, but it just wasn't quite enough for them. They showed flashes of brilliance in attack, but they were unable to get over the try line and came away with 12 points off the boot, while Kenya have scored 36 points, and the final conversion was made by Derek Ashiundu in the absence of Jone Kubu.
And that is the final whistle. That is full time. It is, of course, distraught from the Zambians, but they can walk with their heads high because they have not played action. They've not played rugby in a very long time, which is unlike the Kenyans and the Ugandans, who had some tournaments to play last year.